In your KVUE Crime Files, we revisit the murder of Ruth Elizabeth Bettis, a 19-year-old dancer whose body was found in a field in Travis County. More than 40 years later, we caught up with her older sister as she recounts the moment a friend gave her the news.
And she just said, Elizabeth has been murdered. I'm a quiet person, but I wailed and screamed like the world just went black.
Catherine Bettis' sister, Elizabeth, was gone. While Catherine chose not to show her face on camera for this interview, that day back in 1982 remains clear.
It was such a shock.
Only 3 years in age apart, the two were close.
We moved a lot, so we kind of just had each other. She was really special.
Special, likable, and beautiful. Family and friends knew her as Elizabeth or Liz, but at her job, an Austin gentlemen's club on Highland Mall Boulevard called Sugar's, they referred to her as Gibson.
She was dancing there, and she needed money to live on.
Travis County Sheriff's Detective Javier Hernandez told me after her shift on November 24th, 1982, witnesses reported seeing Elizabeth getting into her car, a 1969 light blue Volkswagen Beetle, with an unknown male. Police released this sketch.
The sketch would be of the person as they saw them back then. So if there's a family or friend of that individual, or maybe someone who was at Sugar's at that time, they might still recognize that person even though they may be 20, 30, or 40 years older today.
Bettis' body was found in this area off Sprinkle Lane Cutoff Thanksgiving Day about 2 o'clock. Two teenage boys were out driving around
and spotted her body about 7 miles from the club. Back in the 1980s, the area was a pasture, but a lot's changed. Today, it includes a housing development. Detectives located her car a short distance away.
She was found with a gunshot wound to her head. There were signs of strangulation and signs of a sexual assault.
Detectives stripped the vehicle of its seat covers and door panels and sent the evidence off to FBI labs. But despite their best efforts,
at this point, we don't have a motive. We don't have a suspect. It's real shady right now.
You know, she was young and healthy and full of goals and ambitions and things she wanted to do.
To this day, Catherine carries the pain of knowing her sister's killer is still somewhere out there.
She knew a lot of people and she had a lot of friends. And if anyone has any clue at all, come forward and maybe you know something.
And when deputies found Elizabeth, she was wearing only blue socks, one brown moccasin shoe, a brown corduroy jacket, a green and white sweater, and a red T-shirt. You could see it there behind me. Homicide detectives have interviewed more than 200 people, and they've also re-examined old evidence using new technology. Throughout the years, investigators came up with 2 possible suspects, but firearms testing and fingerprints ruled them both out. If you happen to have any information about this case, call the TCSO tip line at 512-854-1444 or call Crime Stoppers. The number is on your screen right now. That is 512-472-TIPS. Tips can be submitted anonymously and a reward may be offered for information leading to an arrest. Daybreak returns in 2 minutes.